Oh boy, this was a rough one. And if you've been following along, you probably know why. Alright, real quick, before we get into anything, a couple of quick updates. The second Blam video is up now on the channel, Blam Master Edition 2. Just in case any of you wanted to go and watch it as well, I'll have the link down in the description. Also, I have a Discord now. You're more than welcome to jump in there and discuss on there. That link is also in the description. And lastly, this week I reached over 900 subscribers. So as I creep up towards 1,000, I thought maybe I'll have like a live stream to celebrate reaching 1,000 subscribers. I know that with my sub count, I might have literally nobody show up and I might be just talking to the wall, or there might be like 2 people and I'll just have a very personal and private conversation. Either way, I want to celebrate by having a live stream. So when I hit 1,000 subscribers, within a week of me hitting that number, probably on a Saturday, I would imagine, I will have a live stream and we'll do, like, I don't even know what I'll do. Q&A? I don't know. What the hell do you do on a live stream? Never had one. But it should be interesting at the very least. So be on the lookout for that. That shouldn't be too much longer. Okay, so here we go. In the Navy Yard. It's like in the Army now. Serpico is going to prove to be a valuable source of information. In other words, he's just going to lead the charge when it comes to exposition here. Also, I thought it was neat that Guts is going to have some real nostalgia for the sights and the sounds and the smells of armies preparing for battle and gathering and everything that they need to do to prep for battle and war, something he would have been heavily involved with and surrounded by back when he was in the Band of the Hawk. So for him, it's very nostalgic, and I thought that was a neat touch. And as we go, we hear about all the different mercenary groups and different armies that are all gathering here, and all of their stories and their backstories. But most importantly, pretty much everybody has heard about, knows about, and wants to talk about the infamous Band of the Hawk. They all seem to know about it, or at least have heard stories about them. When Serpico says, Guts, you were in a mercenary band. Which band were you a member of? And Guts is like, I forget. Really, Guts? Really? That's the best you got? You could have made up any number of mercenary bands, and his answer's, I don't remember. But Shirka is drawing a lot of attention just walking through the town because she's dressed like a witch, and which no one seems to appreciate when the guards literally try to stop her from going through, and she uses her little Jedi mind trick on the guards and they let her through. But because she's drawing attention, Isidore's like a complete dick to her, and he ends up saying some stupid shit, and he hurts her feelings, and she runs off by herself. So then Guts tells him to go fix it and get her back, you little piece of shit. He doesn't quite word it that way, but he tells Isidore, go get her, and we'll go out and we'll find lodgings or something like that. Meanwhile, Shirka is drawn down to the gallows by this little spirit-looking thing that's floating around, and it draws her down, and she sees all the hanged men lined up there, and all of the spirits that are trapped in some, I don't know, limbo state-ish thing. So she goes and uses her Jedi mind trick on the guards, and she forces them to get all of the bodies down and properly cremate them in order to release the spirits. Also, Isidore at this point runs into the little boy from before. You know, the little boy knight fighter guy from the battlefield from before, with the little girl that takes him to meet Griffith. That little boy kid. That guy. You know, when she took him and they went through like the demon forest and they come out the other side and Griffith is sitting there and he's like all conjuring spirits for the people to talk to. That kid. Anyway, he runs into Isidore and he says that he's looking for a witch, to which Isidore immediately like runs away. So now Isidore's in a hurry to find Shirka, because now it's like a race against time. Oh my God, people are looking for the witch. I better find her first. When suddenly this little shows up, and this is bad. I don't know how or why, but this can't be good. I don't like this girl. I mean, let's be honest. She's like Satan's little helper, like the head recruiter for Griffith, basically. Anyway, really, to be honest, leave it to Miura to have a cute little kid, cute little girl no less, show up in a story and you're immediately creeped out. And all of a sudden you're like, this is bad, and something bad is going to happen because I saw a cute kid. I mean, that's pretty much how it works at this point in this manga. This is why the kid in the last one, I was like, said he was creepy, and all the comments are like, I thought he was cute. And I'm like, he was technically cute, but this is proof that cute kids show up and they're not good. They're bad. They are Satan's little helpers, and they are Griffith's, like, what did I just call her? The head recruiter of Griffith? I fucking forget. And also, speaking of that little kid, you know, like when I joked about the little kid, like, I don't like this kid. I don't like this kid. Oh, you know, like, but I was like really joking. No, I'm not joking about this girl. I don't like this girl. Not even a little. Like, I really don't like this girl. But I already know who she works for. And it ain't good. But anyway, she goes up to Shirka and tells her, yo, you're the one that burnt those bodies and released all the spirits. That was pretty, or something like that. Which immediately lets Shirka know she could see the spirits being released. And for a second, I'm like, wait, what? Like, literally, for like 10 seconds, I was totally caught off guard by that. Like, oh my God, she could see the spirits? And then suddenly it like clicked into place that this is like Griffith's little medium girl that can like read minds and shit. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised or caught off guard, but I was for a second. But then she goes to tell Shirka all like her whole story by way of the ugly duckling story, which was actually did turn out to be kind of funny because everything's like a bird, but instead of the ugly duckling turning into a swan, it's like, oh, the ugly duckling, which grows up to be a kite. And then the kite met a hawk. And there's a duck princess with the crow king and the seagulls. And then the little hawk, what was it? And then the little kite girl meets a little owl girl. Long story short, there's a bunch of fucking birds in this story. And she's the kite and Shirka's the owl. And she wants the kite and the owl to be friends. Oh, also, the kite is the only one in the group that can fly as high as the hawk, but no one really cares. What was it? But that didn't matter. I don't know. She's sad and lonely, even though she's the only one who can fly as high as the hawk. So she should be more important than she is. People don't care enough about her. I'm not entirely sure what the whole moral of that story was. But either way, she's a sad little girl. Looks like being a Griffith's #1 medium isn't the best job in the world, is it? Maybe because Griffith's an asshole. But they're interrupted and attacked by pirates. And these specific pirates specialize in human trafficking of children. So guess what? So we're going to traffic these little kids. But they may have picked the wrong kids to pick on. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, right then, Isidro shows up, and he pretty much goes to town on the pirates. And Shirka starts talking to him through that thought transference hair finger thing. And the little girl is responding as if she's a part of the conversation. So clearly she can hear what Shirka's saying. And Shirka gives her this like side-eye look like she can hear the thought transference. And I'm thinking, no, probably not. She's probably just reading your mind. I think that's different. I feel like there's a difference there. A distinction. And actually, Isidro is doing a pretty damn good job of taking out these pirates all by himself. Which at this point isn't actually surprising, because we've seen exactly what he can do and what he's capable of, and he's really not that bad. When that other little boy, you know, Night Boy, shows up, and he starts helping out. But right then, suddenly the Pirate King, Captain Hook, shows up. And seriously, I don't know if he's the Pirate King or Captain Hook or both at the same time. But damn, if this isn't the most stereotypical pirate captain I have ever seen in my life, then I don't know what is. But he draws the fight out onto like a row of rowboat looking things out on the water, which is uneven ground, which is, now we're on his turf. And of course, the idiot knight goes jumping out there like he's going to do something about it and gets his ass handed to him like that. Then Isidro jumps out, and Isidro does actually very, very well. But we know that he's got like a low center of balance to his fighting style because he's so low to the ground. So the fact that he does well on the weird, shifty, floaty boats isn't surprising either, just due to the nature of how he fights in general. And at the sake of repeating myself in all of these videos, I really like Isidro's fighting style. I love it. The fact that he jumped out there, the fact that I knew immediately that he was going to do well on those boats because of the way it's been set up and built and developed to this point, his fighting style, and I enjoy it very much so. That the second he jumped out there and he did well and he did everything, I was like, this is great. I love his fighting style, and I'm going to keep saying that because I like having nice things to say about Isidro, because other than that fighting style, I really don't like him. I don't like him, I don't like his character, and I don't like what happens with his character in general. And my problems with him are going to become very painfully apparent here in just a minute. So I kind of want to take this 1 second here, give credit where credit is due, basically. But a big bad night guy shows up, you know, to help out because he was with Sonya and the other night boy. But he comes in and starts, you know, tearing up the pirates too. And we see off in the background that Guts is there. And apparently he's been there for a while. We don't actually know how long, but he's just kind of chilling in the background, keeping an eye on things, making sure shit doesn't get out of control. And I'm assuming so long as stuff doesn't get out of control, he'll just stay there forever. He has no intention of intervening, and I thought that was really cool. But anyway, now that everything's said and done and over with, Sonya is going to invite Shirka to be with them and to be a member of the Band of the Hawk. Now, she doesn't actually call it the Band of the Hawk, but she does invite Shirka to go with her and join her and her friends. Meanwhile, the Night Boy Kid and Isidro get into a fight, and Shirka's going to turn down Sonya's offer, and then, before they separate, Sonya's going to warn Shirka, get out of this city as soon as you can. And this whole scene would be great. Like the whole Sonya inviting Shirka and Shirka turning her down just for Sonya to be like, hey, get out. It would be super tense and it'd be ominous because, you know, come join the Band of the Hawk. And you're all like, no, don't. I know what you're doing. They're the bad guys. Don't join them. But Shirka doesn't know this. And then at the end, get out of town. You're like, but why? What's Griffith up to? Because you all the while, you know who Sonya works. If Sonya's saying get out, then you know Griffith is the reason why you need to get out, or at least something's going on. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, so I want this to be tense. This could have been tense, but it isn't. And you know why? Because Isidro and the little night boy are fighting. And it's not like, real fighting where, you know, there might be some stakes, there might be some tension. No, it's this kind of fighting. It is I don't even have words for what is happening here on the page. And this isn't good. It's supposed to be funny, but it's not. It's the kind of comedy I don't like. And this is on me. And okay, fair enough, this is on me. If this is your thing, then this is your thing and you like it, and that's great, good for you. I don't. And like I said, that's on me for not liking this particular style of comedy. And normally, in any other thing, when it pops up, and I don't read manga, but I have, like I said before, I've watched quite a bit of anime over my years of life. And when it would pop up in an anime, I've never liked this style of comedy. But normally, I just kind of ignore it and move on. You know, it happens, and I just, whatever. I just let it wash over me, I guess. It definitely doesn't add to my enjoyment of the story, but it doesn't really detract from the story either because I just kind of, whatever, moving on. I mean, it comes close sometimes, but for some reason in this manga, the world is so dark and it's so bleak and it's been set up in such a way and painted in such a way and the story works in such a way that it feels so much more jarring and out of place. Like this comedy just doesn't belong in this manga to the point where it really takes me out of the story. And in this setting, it really does detract from my enjoyment of the story, unfortunately. And like I said, I have seen many other things with exactly this type of comedy that's even more central to it. Take Inuyasha, for example. They would have had plenty of this going on in Inuyasha, and it didn't bother me near as much there as it does here. It felt more at home there. Here it doesn't feel at home at all. Anyway, I need to shut up. Anyway, we move straight into the tavern scene now. And in the tavern, we're having dinner, and they're going to take Shirka upstairs, and Shirka's going to get a change of clothes so that she doesn't draw too much attention because she's dressed like a witch. And she's going to start eating with everybody, and the whole scene's going to immediately devolve into a bar fight. And not like a serious bar fight either. It's going to be a real tongue-in-cheek, slapstick kind of bar fight for comedy. This one's by far not as bad as the last one. It's much more restrained than the last one, but the fact that we got 2 comedy scenes literally smashed and sandwiched together, I'm like, oh no. Oh, this isn't boding well. But we jump over to a scene of the princess is baking a cake for Griffith, and she's super uncomfortable at camp because she doesn't know anybody and she feels out of place, and she's not, well, let's be honest, she hasn't been out of her tower in like 6 years. But anyway, she's going to go up the hill and she's going to try and take the cake to Griffith, and Sonia's just going to run up in front of her and be like, oh, and give him a big old hug because Sonia doesn't really care about anybody but Sonia. The princess is just standing there with the cake, and even the little like prince boy has to like grab her and pull her away and be like, get the out of there, Sonia, you little jerk. I mean, let's be real. How rude is Sonia that she didn't even realize that Griffith and the princess need a little bit of alone time together? Because Griffith and the princess need alone time right now, right? No, they don't. Somebody get the princess and get her out of there right now. Save this girl before it's too late. But we end on Sonia. Shirka and Sonia are too close in name. We end on Sonia thinking about Shirka and the little kite and the little owl and how lonely she is and how nice it would be to have a friend with her there in the camp. And I just don't like her. I have a feeling that this one's going to be causing some real problems in the future. Like, serious. Anyway, back at the tavern, Shirka is attempting to give Farnace her first magic lessons. When they find out that they can't get a ship, they're not going to be able to because all the ships there are tied up in the war effort and they are all already spoken for, or they're going off to one battle or another and nobody's willing to give them a ride, nothing. So they're basically stuck. They went here for a ship and there's no ship. So Farnace goes straight over to the Vandemian Manor, which, who knew that was there, to see her father and ask him for a ship, which kind of shocked the shit out of me. I mean, it makes perfect sense, once again, from a storytelling perspective, but it's one of those things that came real out of left field, like I didn't see coming. And he basically says no or doesn't answer. And then her brother comes up and he promises her a ship if she'll just give her hand in marriage to some random noble dude. So Farnace, in a rather mature moment for her, agrees to marry this guy in order to help her friends, which is very not how Farnace would have acted a couple of 100 chapters ago when we first met her. So then she's going to send Serpico down to deliver the papers for their new ship that they're going to be allowed to have and give them the news that she's not coming back. Meanwhile, while all this is happening over here in the castle, you know, some like decent, legitimate character development for Farnace. The group is having a comedy naked bath scene. Between Shirka and Casca. And now we're going to start playing the whole angle that, oh no, Shirka, the little 12-year-old girl, has a crush on Guts, the full-grown man who's a murderer. And oh no, we're going to be doing silly stuff while we're in the bath and naked, and the little girl, the little child is going to fall on top of Guts while naked. Hee hee, ha ha. And there is some like legitimate Shirka nudity in here. Like, we're talking about a kid. I mean, we're talking like full frontal breasts and nipple nudity of a child. Like, I was literally shocked. You know, like the little suggestive things. Okay, I don't get it, but I've seen it before. All right. But when we got like the full on, like, I was like, are you serious right now? And you know, maybe it's just because I'm like a dad and like my daughter is 9. So I see this and I'm like, nope. Like, no, absolutely not. You lost me. Whatever this is, you lost me. I'm not here for this. You know, I mean, but I'm just being serious. This was another scene that I was like, and no, thank you. I just really hope that this doesn't like become a thing. And I mean that both in the sense of this style of comedy and the over-sexualizing of children. Or at the very least, that it doesn't pop up very frequently. And so far in this read, it has, not the children part, but the comedy part has been pretty relentless. But anyway, after all that's said and done, and after Farnace has done everything that she needs to do, Serpico's going to show up, and he's going to offer them the new ship, and says that Farnace won't be returning. To which Guts asks why, and Serpico won't give him an answer. And Serpico just leaves. And Guts says, I thought we were going to fight. I really wanted to fight you again, or something like that. Serpico then just dismisses him and leaves. So something's going on here. And Guts knows it immediately. So now we're going to flash back to Farnace, and she's going along with this whole suitor thing and all of that crazy stuff. And there's really not much to say about any of this particular scene with her and her suitor and all of that, other than the fact that as much as I really want this to just hurry up and get over with, because we all know that this isn't going to happen, we haven't put this much character development into Farnace and Serpico getting his new little swordy sword and his little flying cloak, just for them to be like, oh, peace, guys, have a ship, we'll go get married. We know this isn't going to play out. So as much as I'm just in a, like, come on, wrap it up, get it over with, I find myself far more invested in Farnace's story and her character development than I ever actually would have expected to be invested in her back when I first met her. But back at the tavern, nobody can figure out why Farnace would do what she's doing, except for Guts, who pretty much puts it together immediately. Like, he's like, I got it. She's got a suitor. She's doing this. She put herself up for collateral. Done. You know, which makes, for once, the fact that Guts nails that one on the head within seconds makes perfect sense. Because this is the kind of crap that Guts would have been just balls deep in back when he was in the Band of the Hawk. Because he was literally Griffith's right-hand man in all of these dealings. He wasn't the one making the dealings, but boy, he was right there. And this is the kind of bull that Griffith was always invested in. And Guts would have been the one right there, hiding in the shadows, doing the dirty work, while Griffith was doing some bullshit like this. But then, of course, he says, if getting this ship costs us our babysitter for Casca, then the ship isn't worth it. Let's go get Farnace back. Which, of course, let's go. Let's go get her. I'm on board, Guts. Let's go. Meanwhile, back at the Van Diemen Manor, Farnace's mother shows up. And to be honest, I didn't even know Farnace had a mother, let alone the fact that she's still alive or could be a part of the story. And boy, oh boy, is this chick some next level messed up. I mean, first thing she says when she shows up is like, isn't it wonderful seeing men on the battlefield? And I'm like, is it? And your father fears you because he's a weak man. And you always did act like a baby, crying and shouting without words. You're an enigma and a monster. He raised you at home alone, without a parent's warmth. I'm thinking, where the fuck were you? I mean, you're a parent in this situation too, and you're gonna stand there and talk about your weak-ass husband and your monster baby child. Get the fuck out of here. And then she finishes the whole thing up with, well, I don't remember raising you, but I am proud of you. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really? And then somebody comes up and tells the Farnace that you're going to be expected to be at this ball, to which the mom's like, ooh, can I come to the ball? I'm like, go home, get back on your ship and leave. Like, Parent of the Year award, no, not you, ma'am. But anyway, they go to the ball, and Guts and crew are going to the ball as well. So we're all going to meet at the ball. But right as Guts and crew are getting there, they're going to get one of those little thought transference things from Serpico's hairfinger thing, telling them to go around back. And right as they get there, he's like, I apologize for calling you around back here, but I just thought that this room, with all the really tightly constructed stone pillars that are placed way too close together, would be a perfect place for our duel. You're like, really, Serpico? You're such a shit. So anyway, Serpico challenges Guts to a duel, and the end. Seriously, that's where it ends. Not only is that where that chapter ends, but that's where that whole volume ends. Not the big volume, but the volume inside the volume, whatever. Which also, I actually thought was quite a fitting end myself. And to be honest, I don't know what to do with this particular reading myself. The political maneuverings and posturing and meandering, I thought was good. I even enjoyed the Griffith stuff that's going on over there, and kind of getting to peek in on him and what's happening with him, and Sonya popping up, and everything about all of that was quite good. The comedy didn't land. There was way too much of it, and it took me out of it way too frequently for me to call this a really good chunk of Berserk. So I'm just going to have to call this one a 7.5. This is the lowest rating I've given a chunk of a Berserk read in a very long time. And hopefully we can go right back up in the future. Like, hopefully this was just a dip and we can move on from here. Although, let's be fair, 7.5 is a pretty damn good score anyway. But just, I can't give it an 8. Nope, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.